We're here talking God of War. Whoops, Castlevania Lords of Shadow. I don't know how I made that mistake. God of War is only 5 hours. This thing actually clocks in around 20. Kojima produced Castlevania game for the PS3, 360. You take it away, because I'll have nothing but animosity towards this.
I think I'm on the opposite end of that. It's a decent game. I don't know if it's well, it's obviously not a traditional Castlevania in any sense, really.
Really, it was made and then had Castlevania slapped on it. It's Silent Hill 4 syndrome.
I don't know about that, but I mean, to its credit, it's a pretty looking game. Like it looks really, really good. The playtime, like you said, is way more than any kind of other hack and slash game. I mean, it's not a bad game. I wouldn't say it's really an amazing Castlevania game.
Well, let's break down the positives. What I liked about the game: voice acting, good cast. Even though they're speaking gibberish most of the time, Patrick Stewart especially on the loading screens is just, my God. Other than that, yeah, was it Robert Carlyle, whatever his name is? Yeah, excellent job. Good voice acting. Woohoo! The environments and stuff like that, and when the game is not screen tearing, are pretty expansive and cool. There's no load times in the middle of levels, which can be expensive at times. Pretty huge stuff. The battle system itself is challenging, which I like. More along the lines of, let's say, more of a Devil May Cry than a God of War, in which tapping square will get you killed pretty quickly. You kind of have to know your combos and stuff like that. Of course, it uses a level up system where you get the orbs, and then you can learn new abilities and stuff like that. You do get the sub weapons, makes it feel kind of like Castlevania. You can turn on damage, which was cool, like from the PS2 Castlevania game, so you can see the numbers popping up, which makes me feel better. I don't know. That being said, not a whole lot of Castlevania-like stuff in here. I mean, you're chasing werewolves for the first half of the game. They introduce vampires later on. Dracula's not really talked about until closer to the end. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a longtime Castlevania fan, so I'm having trouble really accepting this as an entry in the series just because it has so little to do with anything else. I know it's a reboot, but defend it. Defend your honor, sir.
Well, I mean, I'm much less, stuck in like a this is Castlevania kind of thing. I mean, if it's better than the N64 ones, I'm willing to give it at least a...
Legacy of Darkness was okay. Let me preface it with that. I like that one, but...
Alright, well, as long as it's better than the PS2 ones, then, give it a thumbs up for that. It's just... If you're really big on Symphony of the Night, this game is not going to be your bag at all. Whereas, I mean, I'm more partial to the, Super Castlevania, Castlevania 4... a little bit more closer to something like that with like a 3D world kind of to play in. So honestly, I didn't mind the game. I'm willing to accept change, but I can definitely see why if you're really big into the Castlevania series, you probably won't dig this.
You would agree it gets kind of monotonous at parts though, like the way the chapters work. Like there is a lot of not retreading, but you're kind of doing the same thing over and over. And the one thing I really don't like is that they do have some platforming baked right in here. And the problem with that is you essentially aim the character in which direction you want him to go, and then when you have to jump from ledge to ledge or something like that, it's more or less a push of a button, not guiding your character. Kind of like a hand-holding kind of thing. I don't know if you noticed this, but a lot of time I fell into pits because I was like, oh, I have to point away from the wall and jump, like any video game. Like with the QuickTime events and stuff like this as well. You can push any button as long as it's in time. So a lot of simplification there, which I think is a good thing for video games on the whole.
Well, you're talking like just jumping and things like that. Camera angles can be an issue.
You don't have control over the camera,
yeah. I mean, if you're doing some climbing and whatnot, I mean, you can't always see what's behind you. You kind of just have to assume that's where you're going to be jumping.
Replayability in the different difficulty settings and collecting stuff, though, that part of Castlevania they kind of got right, though. Yeah. So, and a lot of gameplay. I mean, I can't really fault it compared to other games. I mean, you get a lot of it. So, quantity over quality.
Well, and even then, I stand by the fact that this is probably the best 3D Castlevania they've done in quite a while. I mean, if you're going to move from a 2D setting to a 3D setting, I mean, they're going in the right direction, which is good. So, I would say.
They do set it up for a sequel and stuff like that, and we'll probably see I think they've confirmed at this point there's going to be a follow-up to this particular one. So yeah, hopefully they improve some of the stuff in there. But, overall, decent game to play. If you're a hardcore Castlevania fan, you're going to find... If it was just called Lords of Shadow, I'd have so much more fun with this game. Unfortunately, that's not the case. What do you call it? What do you give? What do you call it? What do you give Castlevania Lords of Shadow, Mike?
Well, I'm not a huge hack and slash guy. I mean, I've never really been partial to God of War or anything, but I mean, the depth of the game, the length of the game, stuff like that was a little more appealing to me. That being said, 7.5 out of 10.
That's your magic number this week.
It is.
My magic number is 6.5. That's Castlevania. Above average hack and slash. The hours is what makes up for any downfalls it has. You'll get a lot of gameplay out of it. Yeah.
This Castlevania has been primarily designed to take the series into new directions and is not connected to any of the earlier Castlevania games. So new players can jump right in without knowing or having played any of the previous adventures. If you thought you knew Castlevania, think again.